And then aligned product portfolios. Do you know how, I'm sure you guys, I know you guys have got it. I've seen some of your portfolios. How many part numbers do you have in your catalog? There's some of you out there that I could probably tell you exactly how many. But get the products aligned. That is going to be so key for us to be agile and for you to be agile. And then about the skilled workforce. I think every one of us in this room, whenever I'm sure every one of you are recruiting right now. If you're not, you probably should be, on how difficult it is to find quote unquote good help. Well, from an AT&T perspective, what we're looking for in the future is going to be people who can build networks, who can build software, who are really concerned about being quality intense, but not getting too wrapped up around the historical, 6, 8, 10, 12 test cycle months that things get exercised and all that sort of thing. You got to get it to market, but yet it's got to be a quality product. One of the things you'll hear me talk about probably next year if you get an opportunity, or if I get an opportunity to speak with you or speak at other events, is that I'm all about containing the blast area. I'm willing to take some risk, but I want to contain that blast area of where it goes out. Do I think that we're going to continue to require some testing? Yes, I do. Are we going to go over the top crazy like some of us have in the past? I'm one of them. No. We're going to get it out. We're going to get it out fast. We are going to succeed quickly. And when we have an oops, nobody's going to know about that oops but you and me. Okay? It's about communication and service, and it's also about applications rich. So if you're not making skill pivots at this point, or your teams are not making skill pivots at this point, I would encourage you to do so. Start to explore. So, where, at least in my opinion, where the industry must evolve, got to go effortless. It's table stakes. You got to go virtual. It's about the cloud and software-defined networks. Has to be ultra-fast and global in our business. All IP, significantly fiber, and we need partners who can scale globally. And mobile, every solution that you bring us, and that includes even on your M&P side, we need to have a mobile option. All of the ASG C&E teams, all of the ASG RF teams, our operations teams, and practically every person in the field in AT&T today is carrying a smart device, whether it be a pad, or whether it be a smartphone, or whether it be both. We've got to get to the data. We have to get to the data in real time. And then, of course, customers aren't going to care whether they're on a fixed network or a wireless network. They want to be connected. So, with that, here's some considerations for building owners. Wireless service is critical and embedded in everyone's life. If your buildings are not technology enabled, I'd say you've got an issue. I believe that you have to consider technology as your fourth utility. Okay? Got to consider incorporating wireless during in new building construction. We've done it in several cities across the country. I can think of a 3-building complex in Dallas right now where we are building right along with the building. We've done it from a new stadium perspective. And while at first it feels very cumbersome to go through that, what we're finding is that it is a better way to go. Rather than coming back after a building is newly opened or it's just finished construction, is to go along with it. Okay? Pull extra fiber, coax, Gig E, install it, put the conduit and the risers in. You'll never, ever lose your shirt on one of those. Additional space and AC power is available in IDF closets. So chances are with that AC power, we're going to come back in and put some DC behind it. But power is everything in this space. I don't care if it's DAS, I don't care if it's small cell. Power is critical. Okay? And then in supersized DASs, you have got to make sure that you've got adequate space for the DAS, that you have adequate AC, and you've got good control of the temperatures there. After the first of the year, we will start to thermal model every head-end design that we have to make sure that we've got the hot and cold aisles properly arranged and structured. Our venting is in the right place. It's just a smart way for us to go. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it'll be a money saver for us. Okay? So, how does AT&T do DAS? I want to share a ASG C&E home movie with you here. So if somebody can cue that up for me.
We live in a world where mobile devices have become our way of life. They allow us to do almost anything, anywhere, at any time. They are our personal shoppers, our navigation systems, and our photo albums. They help us keep watch over our homes, allow us to work while on the go, and stay connected with our families in real time. That's why it's AT&T's priority to always keep you connected. One of these methods is through our state-of-the-art distributed antenna systems. A DAS helps to provide a seamless wireless experience in areas where large crowds gather. Large crowds carry smartphones and tablets, which means more data crossing our wireless network. This skyrocketing demand for data drives a need for venue-specific wireless systems. AT&T deploys DAS where we live, work, and play. You can find them in your office building, your favorite team's sports arena, and at the airports when we travel. AT&T prefers to build neutral host DAS, which are designed to support multiple wireless service providers. A DAS is made up of several critical components, including a primary equipment room that feeds several remote equipment locations. This equipment is supported by a 48-volt power source and reinforced with industry-leading DC battery backup that is there to make sure service is present even through a power outage. Remote units are usually hidden out of sight, above ceilings, or in closet space. These units can serve multiple antennas, which are connected by coaxial cable and strategically placed throughout a facility for optimal wireless coverage. These antennas help propagate our wireless network coverage throughout the location and help improve reliability, voice quality, and allow thousands of people to share their photos, texts, and posts. AT&T's Antenna Solutions Group was built with the customer in mind. It consists of 4 different teams that are focused entirely on delivering an excellent customer experience. First, our business development group works with property owners to cover all the legal requirements and deliver an agreement for AT&T to design and install the DAS. Then, the DAS engineering team will assign an RF engineer to review design objectives and create a customized DAS design for the venue. The construction and engineering personnel work with certified partners to perform the installation of the DAS while keeping in close communication with venue owners, facility management, and tenants. A single point of contact will be assigned to each DAS project to help manage the entire installation from end to end. DAS projects can be carried out with minimal engagement from venue owners, but there are certain key items that are needed. A knowledgeable resource to help our teams understand the challenges of a venue, critical elements like the location of utilities, any special venue logistics, tenant management, and overall facility support. AT&T will also require an equipment staging area to store equipment and construction materials. Upon project completion, the DAS is handed off to AT&T's Global Network Operations Center, who will continue to monitor the system's performance. The AT&T GNOC is staffed 24/7 and will dispatch an AT&T technician in the event that service is impacted. AT&T is committed to providing the best wireless experience for today's mobile lifestyle, and DAS is just one of the ways that we continue to do that. We build our network to help everyone and everything work together. AT&T is mobilizing their world.
So, that is a home movie that was made by ASG C&E, and it's, I think, a really great way for us to introduce in-building solutions, whether they be DAS or whether they be small cell, into building owners and landlords who may not have at least the understanding of what it takes to deploy either small cell and or DAS into their buildings. So this is the shortened version, and we have a longer version that goes into much more detail of what the requirements are. But it was a home movie. It was shot by ASG personnel from all across the country, and quite frankly, I get goosebumps every time I see it, because we are building something truly, truly wonderful. Okay? Oops. So, with that is all the prepared remarks that I have. I am willing to take a few questions. I believe we've probably got, 4, 5, 6 minutes that's available for Q&A. So, what's on your mind? Yes, sir.
I'll get over there with the mic.
Thank you. At the outset earlier, you said that your department had more budget than it did at the beginning of the year. I assume you on a forward-looking basis. But a more broad question would be, does the need for densification of the network and investment in things like ODAS, et cetera, that we're talking about at this conference, does the growing investment in those technologies get offset or more than offset by a decline in traditional spending on the network, or do you still, on an overall basis, need to keep investing at a fairly significant level in your network in order to maintain the coverage and capacity that will be demanded by the customers?
Okay. So the question is will we continue at the rate of spend in the macro environment, or does some of that shift over into the densification environment, whether it be ODAS or small cell, in building and that sort of thing? And the answer to that is yes. We will continue to create and maintain a very healthy and robust macro network. Make no mistake about that. We are doing the same thing from an in-building ODAS and small cell environment. There's going to be a balance. Do I think that it's going to be the same? Are the percentages in pro rata is going to be the same year over year, year on year? No. It's going to be based on what our customers require and what the data tells us. So some years, one will outpace the other, and then probably the next year the other one will outpace the previous one. It just all depends on what the needs of the customers are. Bet you were looking for numbers, weren't you? What else?
Hi, Paula. I'm Hal Deutsch with Expo Test Solutions. You had mentioned earlier that you're doing rip and replace on some older sites.
Yep.
I was wondering, how old are those sites, and what are the challenges that you see in doing the brownfield versus a greenfield deployment?
Okay. I think the oldest one that we have done to date was a circa, and I don't even really know that I would call it a DAS. I would call it sort of an in-building solution that wanted to be a DAS. Was circa about 2007, made up of cobbled parts. It performed very well till it didn't. And is it certainly easier to do greenfield as opposed to brownfield rip and replace. On the older the DAS, chances are you can't salvage anything. We get a big smile on our face whenever we go in on a rip and replace, and we have a design which will enable us, and if we're lucky enough, to reuse the conduit, if there is conduit. So, you gotta love it. It's kind of like remodeling older homes. Everybody ought to do 2 or 3 in their life. So I've kind of got scars to prove it right here on mine. So, tougher. Given a choice, I'd rather do greenfield. I'll just call it like it is. Got one coming from the back.
I had to stay close to the exit to catch my flight, but I wanted to hear you speak.
Now I am with you there.
So, recently you started to move to deploying small cells. My business is trying to assist with that process, but what we've understood from AT&T is that AT&T has to provide the small cell equipment. Will AT&T approve some small cell solution that can be purchased and deployed by some of your DAS integrated partners?
There will be an option which allow that to happen. I don't really have a date on it at this point. But yeah, I do believe that's certainly in the plan. It really depends on how well we evolve and how well the small cells evolve as to whether or not that happens and when it does happen. Yep. So that's something else I can share with you in case you haven't heard that, or maybe if you're wondering if I'm going to validate a rumor or not. Well, it's a fact that come January the 1st of 2015, we will be transitioning the construction and deployment of small cells into the ASGC&E group. So the same group that's building DAS will be building small cells as well. So probably some of you are going yay, and then others of you are probably going, oh crap. So.
Yeah, Paula, this is Alex Edelstein from Marriott International. First of all, thank you and ASG for all the support and the systems we've been deployed together over the last few years, and thank you even more for featuring the Atlanta Marriott marquee on your video. In addition to that, can you walk us through, the video shows that we've been building a lot of neutral host systems together. Can you explain a little bit further how the process works to acquire further carriers to join that system, and what is it that we as end users can do along with the enterprise on help collocating some of those carriers at a faster pace?
Okay. So our first choice, so you guys got to understand the AT&T model, okay? So the AT&T model from a neutral host perspective is we being AT&T, fund the DAS all the way. Okay, we don't ask for capital contributions on the part of building owners or that sort of thing. We take that capital risk ourselves. Okay. We do build them neutral host. It depends on how. Sometimes there's still kind of still in the concept phase for us, and we've already got applications from the other carriers to go ahead and join. Other times, you get into a situation where you build it totally at risk, and you don't get anybody to join it at all. That hurts. Okay. Luckily, we don't have a lot of those, but that's how we get into how basically the process works at a high level. Design-wise, each one of the carriers have different requirements. So I think that you would find, if you were to take a look at designs today, is that AT&T, our sectors and our requirements are a little bit, how's the best way to put it? Some of you would call it over the top, crazy, stupid. on how many numbers that we put, that are the number of sectors that we require on a DAS. You have other wireless service providers who go with a smaller number. So the challenge in a neutral host DAS is that you've got to build for your lead tenant. And in our case, we are the neutral host provider. We are the lead tenant on our own DAS. And so you're going to find some very, very robust DASs inside of the in-building environment, in the stadium environment. Now, are they inexpensive? Some people would like to think they are. I know different. Okay. And whenever you join them, there's a price point there. So, and it's a choice as to whether people join them. So, I think we have 67 active joins going on right now. So it's not a small business for us. Yep. What else?
Hi, Paula. My name's Wes Garlock. I'm with Jones Lang LaSalle, and I'm here representing the ownership of my building. From an owner perspective, we're curious to see how current engineering builds are going to move in the future as people require more data. How is AT&T approaching this issue moving forward in time with doing essentially new remodeling current builds that are being put in now?
I don't know that I quite got that one.
So when you're doing a current installation,
Yep.
how do you design it so that in the future it's easier to upgrade it? Is that something that we're currently considering
Okay.
or worried about?
Okay. You make sure that you get the bones of the build right to begin with. If you've got good paths, if you've got, you guys have heard me say this before, I'm a big fan of conduit. Once that conduit's in place, it gives you a path to do just about anything that you would need to do. The second thing is about power and making sure that you have adequate and sustained and conditioned power. You get those two things right, and then some pretty good head-in space. Don't shortchange yourself on the head-in. Man, you are rocking and rolling. You are singing pretty. But if you skimp on any of that, these, after the fact upgrades or upgrades that you might not, you're going to upset your building owner. Your building owners they only want their DAS provider or their in-building solution provider. They only want us in there one time, and I don't blame them, and I don't want to be in there again. So set yourself up right to begin with. Get a good set of bones. Okay. What else?
Hi, I'm just wondering, from your past experience, what's your opinion saying how you evaluate the project delivered successfully?
How to deliver successfully?
Or how to evaluate it?
That's a
saying
pretty
the
easy one
project
for
is-
me. I would encourage anybody to approach the business. Probably gonna whiz off some people here. You have to approach the business with an absolute new set of eyes. You may have been in business for 25 years building whatever. But if you're going into the in-building space, and you're going into this what I consider to be a very specialized area of the network, if you don't treat it like a startup, you're going to suffer. You have got to recruit the right kind of people in order to do this. So you're going to need people, just like I've got up here. Customers have got to